You're obviously described as a singer, but you're also described as a songwriter. Which came first of these two talents for you? Are you able to share the chronological order or the history of how these came about in your life?
Yeah, songwriter came first because I was rapping and I was writing my own stuff. And that was about age 12. My brother was actually in a three-man group in high school. He was the producer, but he also rapped. I had two other guys with him, so it's funny. I kind of mirrored him in a way, except I didn't produce in high school. But I sort of mirrored his high school life in a way. He was so cool to me, and I just wanted to do a piece of what he was doing. And so I tried to get on a song once, and he told me, if you can write 4 bars, you can be on this song. I didn't know what a bar was. This was maybe sixth or seventh grade, maybe around there. And I was just like, guess sixth, it had to be sixth grade. So I'm like, yep, I guess I'm not on this song because I don't know what a bar is. I can't do it. And then even still not knowing what it was, I just couldn't come up with lines at all to get on this song. It was not until I started dating this girl in middle school, dating, that I found out what a bar was because she knew, because she would rap sometimes. So I learned from her what a bar was, like structure of music. So yeah, the songwriting came first, and I just carried that into my singing. Funny enough, like really way more inspired by, like, I think the first, not rock, but like alt-ish song I heard on the radio that I can remember was "Daughters" by John Mayer, and it's just so well written. That was it. It was noticeably different to me than the music I was listening to, and I wanted more of that. So I dove into a little bit more of his music, and then like Coldplay and Mumford and Sons was around that time, and I find John Bellion and all these really great writers, and I'm like, I want to find like a way to put this into R&B. Not that R&B is not written well, because honestly, I didn't dig into R&B like that, being around gospel so much. But I knew that what I was hearing, I didn't hear in all the songs that I liked the same way. You know what I mean? So I wanted to put like some of that in there, and I really like dug my feet in the ground on just being a good songwriter. And so I think it's a strength of mine for sure. So I like to say that a lot of times when I meet people, I'll say I'm a songwriter rather than an artist if they don't know me, just so they'll, it feels like they won't be as aggressive about, oh, what are you, oh, who you work with, oh, like all that stuff. So when I say I'm a songwriter, it's like, oh, nice, who have you written for? And then I could just, you know, BS it. But, it's just, it's easier. It's an easier approach than trying to tell people, like, this is my job, and now they have 800 questions. So, yeah.
Now, you mentioned this briefly,
Mm,
faintly, but want to hone in on this. You mentioned the American Idol audition. So,
yes.
how did that fit into the okay, you're a solo artist? Well, you break up from the group,
Yes.
and then this audition happens. So, you're a solo artist, and then the audition happens. The audition happens, you become a solo artist.
Hmm.
Kind of fit that.
The latter,
Yeah.
the audition happened. So, because I was realizing and noticing how people responded to my singing, the next time I went out and did anything musical, the group broke up in 20, Jesus, 2020. Of course, not 2020. The group broke up in 2010, I want to say. I was in San Antonio by 2011. There was this event. Funny enough, my now MD and drummer, he threw this event. I didn't even know him at the time, but I knew that it was for like people in our age group, and it was an open mic. So I was like, I'm gonna go sing that my one song where I sing the whole thing, and just see how people respond to that. And it was like I was Michael Jackson. It was ridiculous, just the response. So I said, okay, maybe I really do have something here. And I decided to just look for, when is American Idol coming? Because I would watch it at the time. Like, when is Idol coming to Texas? So the 11th season was coming to Houston, not San Antonio. But my sister flew in. We drove the 3 hours. We did the chaos of the first day to get your ticket. We did the chaos of the second day, even though you already have your ticket. People are just rude. And we get down there. The audition at the time, so this was at NRG Field or NRG Stadium. They took the grass off the field. I want y'all to see what I saw. They took the grass off the field. It's just concrete. That's all it is. There are 12 judges' tables. They're numbered. Blue judge tables. So not the TV judges, not even close. One person at a judge table. Um, they they used like maybe a quarter of the arena to host all of us, and then they would call us down by like the area we sat in, and then place us into fours. So they would do auditions by fours. My group steps up, all the judges get up and take a break, and I was like, oh no, whatever chance I had is over. Like, not, I mean, literally, it was probably just a break. They had been there for a little bit. But also, what if they're changing what they want? They're not getting the right things, blah, blah. Like, all this stuff is in my head. Anyway, I still do my audition, and I've got to be honest with you. I'm not super arrogant, but I felt like I was the best. And I did a good job. I genuinely did a good job. And I was not brought through, and somebody from that group was, which made me even more mad. Just didn't know what they were looking for, I guess. So I sang well. Um, I forget the song, something by, what are they called? Neon, something like some pop group back then. Neon, they had a song called Animals, I want to say. Whatever. Um, yeah, I, my big story here is that I think NFL player Matt Schaub, quarterback of the Houston Texans at the time, cut my wristband off. It was like him and the offensive lineman. That's what it looked like. They're all that size, and that dude looked like Matt Schaub. And he cuts off my wristband, and I walked through the loser tunnel, even though that's not what they called it. It was the freaking loser tunnel. I walked out of that, didn't speak for the next 3 hours, and was just so upset, so sad. And all of that to say, I was pissed off and had like a "I'm gonna show you" kind of mindset, and here we are.
Now, if any of those or that judge
Mm,
is watching or listening to this interview, is there anything you want to say to this person?
almost flipped them off. No, they did their job. Like this, they were looking for what they thought Idol wanted. I can't be upset about that. I think Philip Phillips won that year. Like, I wasn't no Philip Phillips, you know what I mean? Uh, so that, I don't think that was going to be for me anyway, or any of the other shows that I tried along the way after. It just wasn't going to be for me. And I'm glad, honestly, you just put me on the right path. I didn't need those contracts that they give out. I didn't need anything that comes along with being on those shows at the time, especially. So yeah, I'm on the right path. I've headlined several tours now. I've opened for a couple. Like, I paid for my house with money on music, money from music, and I'm taking care of my family with money from music. Like, can't be mad at the judge forever, I guess.
And the interesting thing here on a show of that magnitude, a reality show contest or whatever those things are called, is
Yeah,
just because you are declared the winner of said season doesn't mean you can still make it. There's obviously other artists like yourself that didn't
yeah,
get past, uh, didn't get called the winner, and they're just as successful as you, if
yeah,
not more successful. So you do hear those stories, right? But then you also hear those stories of the people that won that are forgotten about, and of
yeah,
course some of them that won that everybody remembers. So just how do you look at that in those
yeah.
type of?
They don't make these megastars, and I think we were fooled by that because Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood and Fantasia and Ruben Studdard, like all these people that became these really massive stars early in what they were doing. But there's way like more people who did not become these really big stars. Now they might have careers in music that I just don't know about. Like, there's a niche for everything, and maybe they just have a section or a market share that I'm just unaware of. But the illusion that everybody was going to be those big names that I just said, I think that's gone. Whether it's from Idol, The Voice, X Factor, I don't even think The Voice has one. Forgive me if I'm forgetting somebody. I don't think they have one that became like this really big star. X Factor obviously has One Direction and Leona Lewis and a couple others. But it just, these things, they make money for the network. They are opportunities for people to advance their careers and their lives. But the illusion is gone, I believe. So, yeah, I think and I believe that my career is where it's supposed to be, especially, if God didn't allow it, I didn't need it. You know what I mean?
And when it comes to the I'll show you attitude, or however way you figuratively said that
Mhm.
previously. Can't remember the words verbatim. Was there ever a thought on trying, if not that show again, another one of those type of reality
Yeah,
contests like an X Factor and The Voice?
I did a few. I did The Voice, same result. I did. I think I had a bad approach there, but same result. I did America's Got Talent, same result. Like I never got past the first judge anywhere, and I just don't think I was supposed to. Like the deals that I've been able to have since, the freedom that I have as an artist, I would not have had that in those contracts. Like those were some early 2000s, late 90s style contracts still back then. Like, yeah, I didn't want any part of that. So I thought I wanted it, and then you learn. And I didn't want any part of that. So I'm glad. I really feel like not even making the show, I'm glad that God didn't like crack the door open for me to think that, oh, maybe this is for me, because it just never was.
And also, on the opposite side of things, what do you want to say to those in the audience watching or listening to this interview that did audition, was in the
Mhm.
same boat as you, didn't make it to be the winner of said show, and they're watching this and contemplating their own career? Like, should I keep going? Should I not? So on and so forth. Obviously, you had the I'm going to show you attitude and kept going.
Yeah.
But what do you want to say to those that may be dejected after uh, losing that?
Yeah, I was dejected. You know what I mean? That's the first feeling. It's this failure. But I think it's because I thought it was something that it isn't, number one. There's way more lanes these days. There's way more opportunity. I went and like put together little pieces of a studio setup in my room at that time in 2011. And now it's so much more accessible than it was back then. Like these shows are avenues, but they're not the only one for sure. More people lose than don't, and Jennifer Hudson was a loser. What? Like, obviously, that's the greatest example I would say. But everybody that didn't win or even didn't get far, because I got to be honest, my goal was not to win the show. I was like, I just want to get to Hollywood. Once I get to Hollywood, I'm gonna meet some of the right people, whether they're in the show and maybe we become a group later, or I meet a producer at the show, something like that. I just wanted to make a connection. I wanted to get far enough to make a connection with somebody to help me go forward, and I didn't even reach that goal, right? And I'm still here. I've still headlined my own tours several times, whether it's buses or planes. Like we've been able to make it happen, man. And yeah, it's just not the end. It's just a part of the story.
And also, a part of the story is playlist appearance
Like that segue.
for Feelings for You, which ended up being on Barack Obama's favorite music of 2022.
Yeah, that song, the story of that song itself, it's really cool that it made it to that level because when we dropped it, I was unaware. This shows you how much R&B I was listening to at the time. I was unaware that it had a sample from like a Giveon, not just a Giveon song, a Giveon single. Like I just did not know. We just My team didn't know. We just like believed in this music, in this song, and the producers didn't know. It was so weird thinking about it that way. They didn't know either. They got scammed in a beat pack, and the sample was in that pack. Um, so anyway, we had to take the song down because, of course, we got strikes and stuff. And I'm like, this is my first song as an independent artist. Like, it's supposed to go perfect. Everything is over. Like, now nobody's gonna care when I drop it again or if I drop it again. And I think it was 2 months, 2 or 3 months later, after some reproduction, we put the record out again, and this is the result. It was one on Spotify's favorite R&B songs of the year, Obama's playlist. Um, my wife and I just kind of freaked out when we saw it and debating whether or not he actually listens to the music. I'm for sure like a staff brings it to him and he has to approve it. But the idea that he was just like on Spotify or Apple one day and just stopped on me and was like, write that down. I don't know, man. I don't know. But either way, I'm glad that it was approved. It's a cool thing that he does that raises awareness of artists people may not have listened to or known about otherwise. So it didn't change my life, but it was a very, very cool moment.
And how were you even notified about it, that you had made this list?
I saw it on the internet. we weren't tagged or nothing like that. I was just scrolling, I guess. Maybe one of my friends saw it first. Now that I'm like thinking it through, and I think I was tagged in the post, and I'm like, "What is this?" And now I'm like, I thought it was just like an encouragement thing, like, "Oh, you're gonna be on here one day," and no, I was like literally on there. So yeah, you just come across it. Very nice moment. I remember being in my home studio. I was probably playing PlayStation though, and just seeing that and freaking out, taking it to my wife.
And just record label wise at the time, were you truly independent
Yeah.
when you had that recognition?
Yes. Truly independent with distribution. So I think my distro at the time was Independent. That's the name of the company, Indico. Um, so that was really cool. It's a big win for all of us in that way. Yeah.
Do you think they had anything to do with it?
Well, they're great. So I can't say that they didn't have anything to do with it. Like they recovered on our snafu really well and got the song back up there. So they were a really great team to work with that I would recommend anybody to work with, especially if you're getting back on your feet or you're just looking to advance in some manner in your career. Like the people over at Indico, Gabe Lister, like they know what they're doing. They were extremely helpful, extremely accessible. Everything was clear. So yeah, I don't know what happens if they're not my distro at the time because they have the conversations with the people at the companies and all that stuff. So I don't know what happens without them, but I know what did with them. So great people.
And are you still with them today?
I'm not. Not an issue, not a bad thing. I actually really tried to get back with them. It was honestly more so about I wanted to basically double my deal because I was like, hey, I'm about to give you double the music. If you keep my terms, let's just double everything else and let's do it. And they didn't want to do it that way. And that's not a bad thing. That's just business. Like at the time, business said doesn't make sense to do exactly that. They offered another deal, and it wasn't a bad deal. It's just not what I was looking for, and so had to move on from that. But had they come back with like even something like close to what I was really looking for, there's no reason to not, go back and work with that team. They're great. They really are great at what they do. But I'm also extremely happy with RBC and BMG.
And you also mentioned God here.
Yes.
You mentioned gospel music
Yes.
throughout this conversation. Um, uh, do you follow religion at this point?
100%. 100%. Uh, I can't be anchored in any manner um, without Jesus, without my faith in Him and in who He is, what He's done. There's an end to me. Like I can do but so much. And it's really nice to know that, and really good to know that who I'm trusting in, Alpha and Omega, like stands outside of time, not restricted by anything. And for me to think that I can learn that, know that about him, and still try to live life without it, like it's an impossibility. I've I've tried life without like honestly surrendering my life to him as a Lord and as Father, and it's not for me. It's not because when I go, not just when I go through trouble, but when I go through things, like if I'm, what is there for me to hold on to? Like hope. What am I hoping in? Like what am I hoping in? There's not like at that point, hope is just a word. I need to attach that hope to something real and proven. Um, and it's not just my parents' faith that was passed down to me. I went through the whole deconstruction thing at 19. I stepped out and said, "What is this?" I was on the drums one day at church at 19 years old and said, "What are we doing every week? Like, what is this?" And for the first time, I stepped outside of my church, stepped outside of my bubble to see what other people had to say about Jesus or other things. And I made my journey. That actually made it like a much deeper connection and relationship. When I thought there was a possibility for me to walk away, I looked into it for myself, and it gave me roots instead. So yes, it's what I do. I'm on the worship team at my church, back in Texas. I'm singing typically like 2 times a month. Um, I've the themes are pretty consistent in my music, even when I started in Christian hip hop to now, um, it's something that's never not been a part of my adult life. So yeah, I continue to learn and grow in that.
And care to share what you consider yourself religion-wise? Is it just
Oh,
Christianity?
Christian.
Does it get any more deeper than that? Like sometimes a particular branch or denomination under that
No,
umbrella?
not branch or denomination. It's Jesus, follower of the way. There's no specific, you know, Catholic or whatever everybody's different terminologies are. That's cool and great. You know what I mean? Like end of the day, I believe that Jesus is the Son of God. Jesus is God. That he's part of the Trinity, Godhead Trinity. Um, that he died and rose again for our sins. Like the basic the basic foundation that you have to say I am a believer and a follower of Christ. That's where I'm at. You know what I mean? Everybody's specific things, like if that part isn't challenged or doesn't change, then all well and good. If that part does change, I'm not that. I'm not whatever that is. You know what I mean? Like, um, yeah, I'm really firm in my belief in that.
And just for additional context, prior to the deconstruction that you went through, how were you raised? Was it a Christianity as well? Was it even more specific than that?
Yeah, it was. I feel like I've been non-denominational pretty much my whole life. I think my parents were kind of just shifting into that as I was born. I mean, they've been in Baptist churches. They're from Mississippi, you know. They've been in Baptist churches and Kojic churches and all those things. Um, but my first memories of church is about three, four, five, around that time frame, and we were at a non-denominational in Warner Robins, Georgia. Um, so yeah, the entirety of my life, I've, especially because I ended up playing drums, and my dad was the music director, my mom was in the choir, my sister's in the choir, my brother went from drums to keys and organ, and then I'm on drums. I'm there at the time, Sunday, Wednesday, yeah, Sunday, Wednesday, Thursday. If the band had a rehearsal, we'd be there on Saturdays sometimes. And don't let there be a revival because we are there Sunday through Friday. We'll get Saturday off. We'll come back again on Sunday. Like, I can't believe they made us do that along with our regular lives. Like, what? It's insane, actually. But yeah, that was a big part of my life. But it still wasn't like what I was living. I can say that for sure. Very much wanted to figure out what life was for me and not just what my parents were saying I should do. So I didn't I didn't get into Christianity as like, was I around it? Yes, for sure. I knew the music, I knew the Christianese, the terminologies and all that stuff, but my heart wasn't there at all. And like I said again, at 19 is when I really like challenged it for sure and went to kind of seek against it and still found my way back for sure. So yeah, I grew up in it, but I've made my own choice.
Now, when it comes to back to music here, when it comes to the music side of things, and specifically songwriting versus singing,
Yeah,
which do you feel like you're more talented at this point?
songwriting, and I don't have to think about it. There are so many freaking good singers in the world, man. Um, and I've learned that just because you're a great singer doesn't mean you're a great artist, because I feel that I'm a better artist than some people who are way better singers than me. But that's just because of what I can express in my writing, in my tone, and the relatability of hearing my voice in people wanting to sing with it, sing back to it. Um, yeah, I've learned a lot of the differences in that. I want my voice to be better. There's so many voices I wish I had. There's so many people who I admire simply for their vocal ability. But I recognize my strength being a songwriter, saying things that are placing them in catchy manners, or just singing the right note, put them in the right note at the right time, the right word at the right time. Like I've, me and my friend Andy Minio, I love writing with him the most because when we would be in sessions in the past, we would literally be going back and forth between two different words to see what felt better in that one, in a just insignificant word. It doesn't matter to the song, honestly, except to us, it matters so much. And just seeing which one felt better. I love that. And I think that's why I'm really good at it. I love to sing, yes, but I know my God-given ability is like I'm gonna work as much as I can in it. But at the end of the day, he put a cap on it. There's a cap somewhere, and that could probably be true for the songwriting as well. But I just I love it so much more. It's creating the story and then expressing it after. You know what I mean?
And which do you enjoy more, whether you're more talented at it or not?
I'm gonna say, oh man, I want to say singing because of the live experience, like with the crowd on a stage. That they're very similar feelings. That's why it's taking me a while to like give a real answer. Even though I love songwriting, feel more talented in that. The experiences, the euphoria is similar after writing a really good record, which typically I've done at the house by myself. But being able to take that record you love so much and perform it and sing it to people who are singing it back, it's a completely different. It's the full circle of what you thought the song could be when you wrote it, and that's probably why I think I enjoy it so much more. Yeah.
And which do you think your followers, fans, or supporters, and I don't know if you have a name for them
No,
in
no, I don't
particular,
have that.
what do you think they enjoy the most
the,
between those two talents of yours?
it's the singing. Like some music heads will get into, oh, you wrote this really well, but you'll see about the voice way more. Like you get the like butter, so smooth, so calming. I hear and see about the voice way more than the writing. But yes, there is that niche group of people who are like, man, you really, really wrote this song. And yeah.
And on the songwriting side of things, while we're at it, how do you deal with writer's block when if you even get that?
Mhm. Uh, I don't, I don't really think there's a block necessarily. So, for instance, there will be times, I can't even say a lot, but there will be times where I'm, I hear a record and I start to write, and what I hear first is like the second verse of the song, not necessarily the beginning. Like it doesn't always happen chronologically or linear. Like it's not always I wrote the song in this order. I'll just hear a part of the song first, figure out where I should place it, and then put it down. And maybe the next day or a couple hours later, I'll pick it back up. So it's not really a block as much as it's just like maybe not quite time yet. Like let this part sit, see what fits around it. It's almost like a puzzle in so many ways. Um, so I don't. To me, if you're getting blocked, that might be you need to go live. Like you need to go do some stuff. Go enjoy your life. Go out. Go do something. Maybe you're too in the studio. You're writing too much, which is a thing. Like yes, you want to work the muscle and get good at it, but at some point you got to put the weights down, brother. Like you can't be in the gym every single day and expect the muscles that you've been tearing to get stronger to ever get stronger because you're still tearing them, right? So it's one of those things that you might need to just take a real life break, go through something, and then come back and see what either production makes you feel or like I have just about every album there's a record from me that like was in my head first and I brought it to the producers. On my newest album, that's State of the Will and Little Mistakes. Like those weren't beats sent to me. That's something I felt, I put on my phone, and sent to them to get it made. Sometimes I'll do it completely a cappella or whatever and just get the idea out. But those songs don't come if I'm in the studio every single freaking day of my life, right? I had to go through some of those things and really live my life. So that's my advice about it. If you do feel you have writer's block, like maybe you just haven't lived enough of your life yet to talk about something beyond what you've talked about. Like you've overdone the season.
And you mentioned it in a previous portion of questions, but just in case those are tuning into just this select portion of the
Yeah.
interview, care to share the name of the title to the album that you're referencing these songs are off
Yes.
of?
So my album is called Honeymoon Mountain. It released on May 2nd, 2025. It is my favorite album of my whole discography. It's a wonderful story of I like to tell how I got to it, which is my friend was not in a good spot with his fiance at the time, and so he wanted to just kind of just have a good like a highlight real quick in the relationship. So he takes her to Disneyland, and it's this imagery of going to this place to be happy, people around you enjoying themselves being happy, and you're with this person and you're not happy together. And that's the person you want to be happy with. He says they had a horrible time. And my mind just exploded. And it took me to kind of what became this album, realizing we know what it's like when a relationship is just over. You just end it. I've been around so much divorce. I don't even want to go through the whole list right now, but I've been around a lot of it. And so, and it's some of it is necessary. We know what it's like when it's over, but what is it like when you feel that way with somebody, but you do want to keep it and you do want to hold on? And so the album explores that. It starts off at the worst parts, and we're trying to climb this mountain together. I just kind of use Honeymoon Mountain as a theme park name, almost like Space Mountain, the ride at Disneyland. But yeah, I wanted this visual of climbing a mountain with the one you love, but also the ups and downs of like roller coasters and things of that sort. So yeah, it all works. It all works together really well in the album.
And speaking of this particular project, any plans for a deluxe?
I'm not deluxe is not in my contract, so if they got deluxe money, I don't mind a deluxe at all. It might be like it could be like a 1 year anniversary thing. It could be a couple months down the line. But I don't like turning in work that wasn't paid for or or expected. Not that there won't be music for it, because there will be music that is available in that manner. But not as of this exact moment of this recording, no. But we'll see what happens, because there's a lot that's going to be coming through.
Have you done a deluxe previous to this?
No. Well, I've attempted. So I was going to do a remix album for If You Feel. We were remixing not every song, but a good, maybe about half the album was getting remixed. So there's some songs that are made that just never saw the light of day because, so Tunji, who is now the CEO of Def Jam, he was my A&R at RCA. So Tunji got that job like during that time frame. So then suddenly I had a new A&R who I talked to once ever, and I ended up only being able to speak to her assistant. Not that the assistant couldn't like do the work, but we couldn't get things through to the person who's supposed to help make it happen, right? It's not the assistant's job to make it all happen, you know. So anyway, it was really frustrating. We couldn't get it done just because we couldn't reach our A&R, bro. Like what? Uh, and then they kind of like, hey, Tunji's gone. We'll give you an opportunity. Do you want to like see what happens with another single, or do you want to walk? And I'm like, I'm gonna walk. What do you mean see what happens? What? See what happens? Like that's not very enticing at all. Plus, we couldn't get anything to go through with the A&R you guys gave me. So and I can't even throw that person on the bus because I don't remember their name. Like that's how little I talked to that A&R. So yeah, anyway, we had the remix album, which was basically the deluxe, and it just couldn't happen for pure lack of communication.
Now, when it comes to your previous bodies of work on this discography, zooming out, uh, never seen you do an additional installment or a volume to a previous title. Are there any plans to a volume two, a two in any of your previous titles in your discography as far as albums and projects?
Well, you missed one. Uh, Hours Spent Loving You Got Moments Spent Loving You with me and Sango. Yeah,
Ah,
that's the only one though. That is the only one.
pardon the
I
brain fog there.
It's okay. I like to explore something else. Not that it's not cheap, but it's really easy to get fans excited about a two of something that they already have proven to be excited about. So if I say I've got the Everlasting Wave 2 coming out, my fan base would get really, really excited because of what that meant to them in that time. I didn't mean to do that I did it with one song with Afraid Part 2. And when I went to studio, that was not the goal. I don't really, like you said, I don't really do that. It just turned out that was where the story led and it made sense. But in general, I like to try to find what's new, what's fresh, what's a different approach, so that everything can kind of stand out to itself and not be. They're going to be compared to each other, but I didn't want them to be directly compared to each other in the sense of was one better than two, like a movie, like we do with movies. Like I didn't want that comparison. I needed it to be same actor, different movie, and different characters, things like that. So the Spent Loving You series, which technically is complete, that has an opportunity to get a trilogy at some point. Um, but we left it. What was that? 6 years ago now. We left it at Moment Spent Loving You. But who knows? That might be the only one that continues as far as albums to get another installment.